So good news, traditional races are back. With them though, there are some additional safety measures that certain race directors may need to take into account. So today we're going to be listening to some great advice from Todd Henderlong on communicating with local government and health safety officials in regards to COVID-19.
The running community is made up of tens of thousands of these micro communities, and all these micro communities interact. And so we thought there were opportunities in this market to build some cool technology.
So here at RunSignup, we recently had our fall cram session, all of which you can watch on our YouTube page. You can subscribe there and turn on notifications. That way you get a message every time we post new content. But RunSignup's Chris McDonald hosted Races Are Happening with Megan Silva-Schultz, Todd Henderlong, and also RunSignup, Jonathan Farrell. I definitely recommend watching the full video if you have the time. They have a lot of great information on having successful virtual races, challenges, and modified in-person events. In this video, I just wanted to highlight some things that Todd had to say about dealing with government and safety officials if you're looking to return to in-person races. Todd Henderlong owns T&H Timing in Indiana, and in order to best understand his advice on communicating with safety officials, it's good to know how he has his modified in-person events set up. So for that, we'll go to Todd.
We'll start with Todd, who has been putting on some in-person events.
We've actually put on, I had to count it up today, we've put on 15 events since May. We've been kind of using a different way of doing things at various races to see what works best. Last weekend, 2 weekends ago, did an event, had 900 people registered. I think we had 600 people that actually did packet pickup, and I think the finishers were 450 or something like that. It was an event that was originally scheduled in April that got postponed, so there's a lot of people that signed up that stayed signed up that didn't run. And the way that we did that was by alphabet. We set out 10-minute time windows, and we just broke it up by alphabet wherever it was about 100 people. And so I think it ended up being A to B, D to E, F to, whatever, until we had like 100 people. And we found that we can get about 100 people across the start line and maintain safe distancing very easily.
Most of your events are in parks or on the road?
We've been doing a little mix of both. And when we first started doing the live races, we were doing them in parks where we could lock down the course for several hours. We were extremely conservative with how many people we would have starting at any given time slot. We have starting windows. Because we had people already registered, we had to go the alphabet route when it's a new event and we don't have any participants registered. We use the corral feature and RunSignup. We take a look at first, how many people do we think we can safely have at the facility we're using? That's number one. We think, okay, we can probably handle 500 people here in the course of 2 hours or 3 hours. And that's our number. And then we start putting in, okay, we can do 100 people about every 10 minutes. And so we'll set up 5 corrals, 100 each on RunSignup. And then when you go to register, you pick your starting time window. And if the time you want to start is closed, then you pick something else. And that seems to work really, really well. And again, it's not just the key isn't just the starting times. It's getting people to come. If we stretch it out over like this last event, we had I think it was 2 hours where the starting line was open, people coming every 10 minutes. And so the most people we would have on premises at any given time would be 150 or so, and they would be filtering in and out throughout the morning. And so that's kind of been how we've worked it. We've smaller 100, 200 people races. We just basically say, hey, start line's going to be open for 15 minutes. We make an announcement, start line's open, people can go whenever they're ready. But that's kind of been the key of what we've been doing.
All right, so it's really important before you talk to your local government or safety officials is to have a plan. That could be similar to Todd's plan if that works for you. As Todd mentioned, some of his events already had registrants that signed up before the pandemic, so he obviously hadn't collected corral information for them during the registration process. But he found another way to break them into corrals. He broke them down alphabetically. Now in RunSignup, you can set up corrals and then have the participants go back into their profile and edit their corral choice. And you can use our email marketing feature to let them know where to go. But as a registrant of races myself, I know I don't always open race emails. In fact, it's quite rare. So going with Todd's option here of just taking control and splitting up the corrals yourself, probably the best route to take if you collected all your registration information before the pandemic. So if everyone signed up for the race already and then you had to postpone it and you can finally have it now, it'll probably be easiest for you to just take control of those corrals yourself. Now, if you don't have registration in your race yet, you can do what Todd did and set up corrals and RunSignup. You can find this on the dashboard, just search corrals, and it's right there. If you need help with the setup, we have a help button on the corner of every page. That'll bring you to the tutorial. And if you still have questions, you can contact us at info@runsignup.com. You can set up as many corrals as you need. You can set caps on how many people are in each. And come race day, you'll have all that information figured out for you. Now, once you have your plan, it's good to know how to present that to government and safety officials. So we're going to go back to Todd for that and hear what you should say and also what you should not say.
Honestly, our first one was the most difficult. A couple days before I think our parks department, someone was going to pull the permit and ask if we would delay it. And at that point in time, I did have to I said, well, we can't do that. We can't delay this. It's been marketed. We spent money. And if you pull the plug on us, we're going to sue you. And we backed that up with a pretty good case study. I used the example of they had opened their golf courses. And I said, this is no different than a golf course. People are signing up for tee times. They're showing up. They're golfing. They're leaving. That's what our runners are doing. I said, so unless you're prepared to shut down your golf courses, we'll file a restraint of trade. And that kind of forced their hand. I think whoever had the problem didn't have a problem that bad that they wanted to get litigious. So, but once we got the first one done and we had a case study, then we could move forward and do the others. A really great example, our local county decided to put a restriction on, I think 2 weeks ago, any group of more than, I think it's 200 now or 150, you have to submit a plan to the health department and get their approval. And what the thought of it was, people were having weddings. A group of parents put together a prom, and they had cases that came from these large events. And so we had, at the time they implemented that, we had this 900 person event that was going to take place, and health department was all worked up about it. So we got the approval, but at that event, we had 2 or 3 representatives from the health department there just to kind of, I think, ready to shut it down if it got a little crazy. And when they saw the way that people came in and out, and that there wasn't a large mass of people at any given time, that they're filtering in and out, they were just blown away. In fact, we were getting ready to start, and one of the keys that we have is we don't have a starting gun, we don't have a starting whistle or a horn, anything like that. Anything that signifies a start is going to get people to move forward. And as we're getting, what we will do is 15 minutes before the event, we'll say we'll be announcing the opening of the start line in 15 minutes. After that time, you can start your race whenever you're ready, or whenever your time slot is, or what have you. And then the next thing, we're radio silent, and the next thing people hear is, okay, the start line's open, make your way over to the start line when you're ready. And people matriculate over to that start line in little groups and individually. We've been at events where they've tried to line everybody up on dots or X's 6 feet apart. And that's great until the horn goes, and then everybody accordions in. I mean, anyone who's been a start of a large marathon knows what it's like when that horn goes off. Everyone crushes in and it expands, and they crush it again. And so we've purposely done it the way that we do it to avoid any of that. And at the start of this event, the health department was out there trying to line people up 6 feet apart. And I'm running out, I'm like, no, don't do that. And I think the lady at the health department looked at me like she was going to shut us down, because this is her world. I said, just trust me on this. And then we made the announcement 15 minutes later, and all went, and she just came up to me. She goes, that is ingenious. That is perfect. And we pretty much now have carte blanche to do whatever we want in the county. She says we don't even have to submit a plan for our events anymore. All we have to do is let her know it's our event, and we're good. So that's kind of how you have to work with your government and your local officials, is you got to invite them in, you got to explain to them what you're doing. And then if you have examples, you have to submit it. My wife is running a marathon. She got the email that they were getting ready to shut it down because they had the same problem. The health department said you had to submit a plan. They submitted the plan. The health department didn't like it. And they had talked about corrals and, people starting every 5 minutes in corrals. And I reached out to the race director for my own selfish reasons, so I did not have to deal with my wife, who had trained for this marathon and I was not going to run. But I said, send me your plan. And he sent it over, and I sent him back something. I said, I would submit it this way and take words out like corrals and wave starts and things like that. Because people have, especially non-runners, but even runners, have envisioned what a starting line looks like. And when you think about waves, you think of a triathlon where everybody's all bunched together waiting for that wave to start. And when you think about corrals, you're corralling people together. And so you have to be very, very deliberate about the phrases you use and the way that you present it. And by the way, they got their plan approved last night, which my wife was very happy about. But I said, you have to present it as it's not a mass gathering, it's an event. You have to put it in terms that people understand. Like, as I put in their plan, I said, if you go to Walmart, or you go to Menards, they are limited to the number of people they can have on premise at any given time, but they are not limited to the number of patrons that can shop at their store on any given day. So having an arbitrary number for an event, if you're coming and going throughout the day, is not fair. You have to say, this is how many people will be on premise at any given time. And that seems to get the health departments and the local governments to kind of at least open their eyes and go, okay, maybe I'm not seeing this right. But that's the thing that race directors have to impress on their local government, is that this is not a 400 people showing up and doing an event. These are people coming and going throughout the day. These are small groups of people filtering in and out throughout the day. That's the key.
All right, so again, you can watch this full conversation with Crisp, Todd, Megan, and Jonathan. You can also watch our other fall cram session videos on youtube.com/RunSignup. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell, that way you're notified when new videos are posted. Thank you to Todd Henderlong for sharing your experience and advice. Thank you to everyone for watching. I hope this was informative. Please give the video a thumbs up if you found it useful, and good luck with all your races.